Yeah, that drone shot was probably all useless, but I always wanted to do it, so I had to do it. Welcome back to my channel, and in this part 2 of the Vz235 build, in this episode, we're building the Z Axis. And we have a bit of preparation work to do, simply because we've taken some parts from my Voron 1.5, the Z linear rods and the Z lead screws, and they are 500 millimeters. We need to cut them to size to 300 millimeters. And in order to do this, we need to go in the garage and do a little bit of grinder. So let's just do that first. Right, we have cut the linear rods and the lead screws, and everything went super good. So we're ready to assemble. The bed is there, everything we need, the belt, Z motors, pulleys, the Oldham couplers, we got tools, and all the Z parts are ready to be assembled. They have every nuts and bolts already inserted, so that should make this step a lot faster. So the first thing that we're going to do is install those rods into each of the lower Z rod mounts. So that will be first step. Then we can install the bed and with the alignment tool there. So let's just do that real quick. We're going to install those first. All right, we got 4 rods ready to be mounted. So let's go on the printer and mount these suckers. So we're gonna do things a bit differently than the normal way of doing it, simply because, let me show you this. On the bed, I've used the one-piece version of the mount here. So it's all one piece. So I had to think about how would be the best thing or the best way to mount this. So after a bit of thinking, I just simply, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to install these little tools that are needed for alignment. I'm going to install one on each side, and that's going to allow me to position the belt to its right position. And then we can install the other lower mount. So let's just do this. I'm going to use the lowest possible position on the frame. Okay, now we can mount the lower Z rod mount. So we're going to do left side first. Very simple. With the alignment tool, it's going to be easy. There you go. Now I'll do the other side. Voila! I'll remove the alignment tool for now so we can install the bed. But we're going to put the alignment tool later on. Okay, alignment tools are removed. Now we're going to bring in the bed. All right, so I think the easiest way we can do this, since now we have the one-piece mount here, is that we're just going to simply slide it in. But before we do this, we're just going to slide in the rear ones like so. All right, and then we can come inside the frame and slide in the bed in the bearings. One side, two side, and you go gently and you lower that thing down. All right. Okay, and now you can insert the lower one where they should go, and they will automatically place themselves where they should go. There you go. Now you can just lower down the belt, and this is where they will need to bolt. So we're gonna screw them now. There we go. And now we do the other side. And there you go. Awesome. Okay. Okay, now we can do the top mounts. The top Z-rod mounts. And very simple. We're gonna use the alignment tool and place the alignment tool a little bit upper. Can I say that? Upper? A little bit higher. That's the word. I'm gonna place it here, and we're gonna use it to mount the top mount. So let's just do this. One on each side. There you go. And now we can install these little guys. So I've untensioned, I have unscrewed or loosened those bolts. That would be the good word. Loosen those bolts so we can insert them very easily on the rod like so. We can place all four. And just before we tighten the top mounts to the frame, we're just gonna make sure that every rod is well secure in the top mounts. So we're just gonna tighten up these bolts, sorry. Now that we have all of the top mounts, they're mounted very loose, so you can still move them, but they are inside. So the next thing that you need to do, or that I need to do, is to align them with the alignment tool. Make sure that it's seated properly, and then we can screw them in place. But we're gonna screw them with the bed at its highest position, so that's going to automatically align everything together. So let's do this. Okay, now that all the rods have been secured in place in the top mounts, they are still free to move, so we can just use the alignment tool here. In this case, it's already perfectly at its place without me doing anything, so we're just going to screw it right there. And we're gonna do this on both sides. So this one is mounted. So this is secure in place. We're gonna do the other side. Same thing. This is mounted loose, so we're just gonna make sure it is seated properly on the alignment tool, and we're gonna secure that onto the frame. There you go. So that part is done. So now to do the rear ones, they are still loose. And what you want to do, the easiest way that you do this is you simply bring the bed up and use something. I'm gonna use a spool to let it sit about here. The higher the better, but about here is good. I might just use another spacer. That's too small. What can I use? Let's just put this under. Like so would be good. So that way it's gonna align the top mounts properly, so you can tighten them. So normally they should not move anymore since the bed itself is gonna hold them into place. So we can screw them in like so. Bingo! We are mounted. So we can remove that, and we're going to test it to see. It really needs to be very, very free like that. If it's not free, then it means you got a misalignment between something. So you're going to have to figure that out. Another thing that might cause the bed not to move properly, and I'm going to show you this with a different angle from the camera. Hold on. All right, so another thing that might cause the bed not to be freely moving is when you do the bed frame. If you didn't cut it exactly to the good size, or if your printed parts in the Z system are not super accurate in terms of dimensions, it might be a little bit misaligned in this side. So what you can do, and that's why I've used these little L, how do you call that? L brackets? Yeah, L brackets inside the frame. So that way what you can do, you can just loosen this guy here on both sides, and that way you can widen a bit the bed frame and let it really sit where it's supposed to be. If you've used blind joints like I did, then you might have to loosen them up a bit, and then you retighten those L once the bed is set properly, and you might end up with a little gap here if your bed was cut too short. If it was cut too wide or too long, then there's no choice. You're gonna have to undo this and cut it and remove the accident, or yeah, you're gonna have to shorten it. So in my case, it's moving super good, so I'm just ready to go on to the next step, which is the motors, the lead screws, and the belt. So let's do this part now. All right, in this case I have pre-installed the top part of that Oldham couplers, and we need to install the other part of the Oldham coupler on the lead screw. And in my case, since I have cut these lead screw, I just got to be careful that the part that I cut is going to be upside, if I can focus here. So this is what I cut, so definitely I have damaged the thread, so I won't be able to insert the lead screw nut from the top. So I really need to put this side up. So we're just gonna put and install the Oldham coupler on top of it, and we'll be ready to install them on the printer. This part is very simple and easy. You're gonna need 10mm M3 bolts. 8mm might be enough. Just gonna use 10 to be sure. And you use your lead screw nut and you insert them into the lower part of the Oldham coupler, and you align them like so. Put in your screws, install the bolt and the nut. Simple as that. If you want, you can put some Loctite a bit there, but I've never had an issue of those bolts coming loose on the Z, so I've never put Loctite. I just like to be able to very easily do maintenance and remove them, so Loctite on this place is optional, but if you're afraid of them going loose, you can use Loctite. Or a bit of Gorilla Glue works very good as well. So now we have this part and we can slide the top part on it. And that will be ready for some action. Let's do the other side now. Next part, we're gonna install those lead screw mounts on the printer, and they have pre-assembled bolts and T-nuts. Bearing were inserted, so that part is very simple. Just install the lower part first, then the top one, and go on like that. So to do the lower part, I think the easiest way, you have a couple of options. You use a caliper and you find your center point. Or in my case, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the Oldham couplers with the lead screw. I'm going to install them on the bed assembly, and I'm going to simply use the lead screw and use that as a reference, and that's going to align it properly. So I need to find which part of the lead screw I cut. This is the part that I cut. So I'm going to put it here on a pre-installed my Z. There you go. And then I'm going to slowly put it in the bearing. And I'm going to make sure everything is centered. And then we can screw that on and we can verify after with a caliper where the middle is, if we are centered. If it's not completely centered, that is not a big of a deal, simply because we are using Oldham couplers, and you can see that it can, and maybe from this side, it can be off a little bit, and that Oldham coupler will fix the misalignment for you. So that's the beauty of the Oldham coupler. And if you're misaligned, you're not gonna get any Z wobble, because this is the coupler that will take it. So I'm just gonna screw that here and install it like that. And we're gonna do both sides like that. And we are spot on. So let's do the other side. All right, both sides have the lower mount install. We're gonna do the upper mount now. And I've used my super spacer to raise the bed just a little bit to damn T-nuts. I've raised the bed just enough to clear that top bracket so it can go here, and there is enough clearance. So we're gonna do the same technique, install the lead screw in, and that way it's gonna automatically align everything together. And once we're done, we just need to make sure that we're completely centered. So just use your caliper and measure on both sides to see if everything is centered, and you should be good to go. In this case, everything's good, so we can install the lead screws and the motors, pulleys, and everything else. So let's go do that now. For the Z motors, it should be pretty straightforward, very easy to do. I've pre-assembled it. I've installed the pulleys, I've locked in the motor, that 60mm LDO motor, and everything is ready to be installed, except I didn't put that screw there, that bolts, because we're not going to be able to mount it. So first thing first, we're going to remove those. We're just temporarily put there, and we can mount that part in front, and then we can put on the motor. You are now looking at the back of the printer. Find the middle measure and install that right in the middle. If you're not completely centered, it's not that big of a deal, but try to be center as much as possible. Try to verify if your lead screw, not your lead screw, your T-nuts were completely turned, and they are. This is solid. So next step, you can use another T-nut and simply insert it and push it until you see it from the top. And there you go. Use another bolt. There you go. And now you're ready to install the motor. Like so. You can temporarily put your adjustment screws in there, and we are ready to install the pulleys on both lead screws. This part is very easy. We need the belt, the Z belt, which is a 860 belt, and we need the 40 teeth pulleys. And I've put the bed higher so you can see, but you can leave the bed at the bottom. So very easy. You lift up the lead screw, you insert the belt, and then the pulley. You put everything back there. Same thing on the other side. Belt, pulleys, wiggle everything a bit just to make sure you're fully seated. And then take the belt, slide in your motor. By the way, that pulley should be installed upside down like that. So that way it's at the same height of the other pulleys. So put it in here. Just make sure that the belt is fully engaged in the pulleys. You might give it a bit more loose. Oh, there you go, thank you. That's enough loose. All right, then engage that pulley and install the motor in the back. Making sure you use a M3 35mm and a washer. And then you apply tension on the motor while you screw this on. And this is not the good one. There you go. And then the last step is to screw on those pulleys onto the lead screw. And to do this, we need to make sure both sides are equal at the same height, so we can lower that belt down. So if you lower the bed all the way down, or you can use the belt. So as you can see, now you lower everything, the pulley will spin. So that means both sides are completely down. Now is a good time to tighten the pulleys. Et voila! Your Z is completed, but you can test it with and that is a good working Z. now is a good time to take a rum and coke. And that was it, folks, for this video. And sorry for my voice. I got sick during this video, so yeah, COVID got me, and then a cold, so my voice is all screwed up. But yeah, we got a good Z. The printer's going on, and the project is going on pretty good. I'm gonna try to finish this as soon as possible. The next step would be to install the bed support, but I don't think we need a video for that. And the limit switch, the Z limit switch, it's gonna go in the back right there, and this is gonna be for the chain mount for the bed. So next thing, we can install the bed plate, put in the heater on it, and get it ready. And then we install the lovely gantry. So that part's gonna be very, very interesting. Sorry for this, it was a long video again. I tried to give as much details as possible for this one. Yeah, because I think it's gonna help people to build it. But yeah, boring for some, interesting for others. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and stay tuned for next part, which is gonna be the gantry, which is gonna be awesome. All right, on this, folks, I need to go sleep. I need to get a bit of rest to feel better. See you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.